Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing on this Sunday? Chat with our good friend Anthony Crooks, creator of Glory Days Boxing, Glory Days College Football, which can be purchased at SidelineStrategies.com, along with Payoff Pitch, the wonderful game brought to you by Joe Bryant. So, SidelineStrategies.com, Glory Days Boxing, Glory Days College Football, card and dice. Very nice. Bring it to a tabletop near you very soon, along with Payoff Pitch. So Anthony Crooks, our good friend, a.k.a. Bleacher Bums Gaming. Check out his YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Hit the bell for notification. Become a part of the FOC, Friends of the Channel, Friends of the Community. So, Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. Nice weekend, and topped it off with a little fistic action from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I did the same. Nurse Teresa said, let's get the fight. And I said, okay, let's get the fight. And I enjoyed it. I can say I honestly enjoyed it. And we sat and we watched the fight with little Wyatt. And between him trying to smack me in the face, I was bobbing, weaving, watching the fight. So, but we had a good time. It was entertaining. Again, novice professional boxers, both of them. And I'll let first like to say hello to some people in the chat. Jeff Ray, how you doing, my friend? As he says, I caught Al live or soon to be live, LOL, with Anthony as a bonus. Hooray for me. Arnold Hunter, how you doing? W Vogs, hope you're feeling better. Bears Den 007, how you doing?
So, and hello to everybody.
The again, we'll start off with some Jake Paul and Tommy Furry. We'll go a little bit with that, and we'll talk some other boxing, other things, tabletop sports, and just in general. What my quick thoughts on the fight was, on the whole fight, I only watched the 3 fights out of the 5. The 3 fights I watched, a 4-rounder with a local Saudi fighter, very entertaining. The Cruiserweight Championship fight, and because I mispronounce gentleman's name all the time, Bandu Jack and Makabu, and Makabu is from the Congo, I believe from the Congo.
Yeah.
Makambu, the defending champion, against, as the thing went away, Bandu Jack, the challenger. Fun fight. Jack won, 12th round stoppage. He had the bout well in hand, but you show a real true professional there with Bandu Jack, how he picks apart his opponent. I've always liked him. And then the main event.
No.
We didn't know what we were going to get. I was entertained with it. Go, Anthony.
I was too. And, the only thing that bothered me, first of all, and we talked a little bit pre-show, is you would not have known there was a title fight on this card in the promo leading up to it, because everything you saw on social media, on ESPN, was Tommy Furry and Jake Paul.
Yep.
And, that's kind of first of all, the Badu Jack fight should have been the main event. I'm sure. And I get it. It's money driven, but, so a little bit of disrespect there. And he is an excellent fighter, but I agree with you for what it was. And it's two, like you said, novice boxers, 2 boxers that have a lot of room to progress, a lot of holes in their game, put on a very entertaining fight. So I actually enjoyed the fight too. It was fun.
It was entertaining. And that's what we're going to talk about, that fight, and then other things. I give Jake Paul, I'm not a big Jake Paul or Logan Paul fan. They're excellent marketers, amazing marketing, how they market themselves. But Jake Paul's gone all in with the boxing. I mean, he's improved. The thing, and again, here's Anthony's right. The only reason why I knew that there was going to be a championship fight, because I looked up fight schedule on ESPN, okay? And that's actually probably put me over to say, yes, come, and because Teresa and I were talking about it. The pressers were great. The build-up to the fight was outstanding. It's what you want. You get Tommy Furry, you get their dad, he is a character and a half, the elder Furry, and then you get Tyson. So it was a lot of stuff, and Jake Paul can speak for Jake Paul. It was entertaining. The stuff, I mean, I think one of the best digs Jake Paul had was, the guys you beat, their records like 14 and 302. It was just, But the build up to the fight was good.
Well, and one thing I laughed at, he said also is that one of his quotes was, "He hasn't been battle tested like me." This is Jake Paul.
Yeah, I know that was funny.
Who the hell battle tested you? You know? Ben Askren with his hip replacement, or 47-year-old Anderson Silva. But I get it. They did a great job promoting it. It was very wrestling like, which is always fun. And
and the combat was real. The combat was real. I'll give you that. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about real quick, if you don't know, Tommy Furry won the fight. I had Tommy Furry winning handily. He did get knocked down legitimately, in my opinion, in the 8th round. He got caught with a jab coming in. You go down. You can think it's a slip. You got hit. You went down. He caught you. Nice, clean jab. You went down. So that made it a 10-8 round for Paul. It closed the gap. The American judge needs a seeing eye dog. What was it, 6 rounds he gave to Jake Paul?
He gave Paul 6 rounds, and I had it 6 rounds too. Also, I gave Paul the 3rd, and I gave him the 8th from the knock.
That's about how I saw it, because I had Fury, and then you give him the round he drops Fury, which closed it. They closed the gap. I thought the other 2 judges had it pretty much right, give or take a point, because of the knockdown. I thought it was, no disrespect to Jake Paul, I thought it was like the term competitive mismatch. And it wasn't really a mismatch. It just was Paul. Nurse Teresa said it best. She said, he does the same thing over and over again. He kind of dips, which I was telling her before the fight, he's going to dip. He's going to try to get Fury to come forward, and he's going to just wing that overhand right. The one thing I wish, and I'm pretty sure we never saw the corner like communicating with their fighters. And I don't know if that's a Saudi thing. I don't know, because that's where, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want the cameras in there. They kind of had the cameras there, but they went away. Also, the promoter was Jake Paul. So,
yeah.
So everything, the announcers were pretty biased, trying to pretend to be non-biased, but they were.
Let's be honest on that. Sean Porter, and I love Sean Porter.
I love Sean Porter too.
Great fighter, great color commentator. Yep. But my God, he was on Jake Paul's nutsack the entire
Yes,
fight.
He was. I was trying to be polite because I really do like him.
And I get that their job is to make it seem like it's a fight, but yeah, they both went a little bit too far with that. But again, it is what it is.
I thought it was entertaining. They fought. Jake Paul, it would have been interesting. He had BJ Flores, another reason not to root for him in his corner. God, I can't stand BJ Flores. And with that, BJ Flores will somehow get a cruiserweight title fight, even though he's retired. I remember he used to get these constant title shots, or he's the constant #1 contender. I'm like, how is he the constant #1 contender? But I already had that discussion many moons ago. So with Jake Paul, he showed stuff. I just thought if they told him, I don't know what they told him in the corner, but dip, pretend to come with the right hand over the top, dig the left to the body instead, or bring it to the head. With Tommy Furry, my thought process was he should have just stuck with 2 jabs in a, 1, 2, 3 punches, and then he would kind of smother himself. He'd get right into Jake Paul punching range when he should have just stepped this side or that side. What were your overall thoughts on the performances of both, knowing that they're novice professional boxers?
Jake Paul's very robotic. He's got skill, and
yes, he does.
One thing he does have is legit high-level power. He's got power. He can hit. Crack. And the problem is, and it's a young fighter thing, and it's an inexperienced thing. What you saw from Tyson, or from Tommy Furry, is, and he doesn't have a great deal of experience. He only had 11 amateur fights, but he comes from a fighting family. He's been around the fight game.
Yep.
So one thing that Jake Paul does not have now is muscle memory, boxing muscle memory. So what you saw in there is what he's been able to do in every fight up to this one, which is kind of come in, move a little bit, jab right hand, load up the overhand right. He's very straight line fighter, meaning he
Yep.
stays in the pocket and in the on the midline, so to speak, and you're not going to get away with that. And he just hasn't developed, again, instincts and skills that allow him to adapt, in my opinion.
Right, because his whole thing is, I'm going to at some point hurt you, drop you, and take you out. And
with Tommy, one thing I didn't like what Tommy was doing. I know, first of all, he's got obscene reach. Tommy Furry is the same height as I am. We're both 6 feet. My reach is actually long. I've got a 76-inch reach. His is 80. That's insane.
He didn't use his jab a lot.
Huh?
He should have used his jab a lot more.
Oh, he did. He threw a lot of jabs. He like doubled up the number that Paul threw.
Right.
But what I didn't like is he had his left hand down a lot.
Oh, Teresa kept saying that too. She kept going, "You're not your brother. Put your hands up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah.
And he by probably the 5th round, he was very flat-footed.
Yeah.
And so I worried about him getting caught, and he did in the 8th.
He did throw a lot of jabs. Let me what I want him to, when I look at something as a boxing match, I'm sitting there going, if he just puts a jab on him, 1-2, 1-2, and then comes with the right hand, and then just mixes it up with a few other different combinations, and he moves a little bit side to side, he wins even easier, if that makes sense. What he did was, if you didn't see the fight, he would throw a combination, and he threw some nice combinations. And towards the end, he actually started going to the uppercut. Had he caught Paul clean with a couple of those, he might have dropped him. He caught Paul with some good shot. Paul has a pretty good chin. I don't know how much of a big puncher Tommy is, because he's
not a big puncher.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like
Paul took some shots. He did take some shots.
I think it was in the 7th or the 8th. He caught him with a left hook, and I said to he hurt him because the legs did the little thing, and then Fury immediately went backwards, and he wasn't throwing punches. He was just trying to. Paul can crack. The fight was entertaining. It was a split decision. The right person got the decision, Tommy Furry.
Totally.
I think Jake will exercise his rematch clause, and why not? It was entertaining. I don't know how much money they made. And I don't know if they really went through with the winner take all kind of thing, or if that was just a gag, but it was entertaining when they did it. So
I don't think so. I think Tommy Furry would have talked about that after the fight,
and he didn't.
No.
And hats off. I watched a bit of it after. What I watched, there was no trash talking. Tommy Furry went up. Tommy Furry and the Furies are like in love with Jake Paul right now, because we've just made the most money that we've ever made with Tommy, that he might ever make, unless they have a rematch. So they were very nice to each other. And Jake Paul was not arrogant. He just said, I don't know if I agree with the judge's decision, but he goes, I learned, I'll be back. And it's how you progress after learning. So
no, they were both very respectful after the fight, which was cool. And, we know a lot of what Jake does is shtick, and it's, and I finish on Tommy Furry too, on his strategy. One thing I would like to see him do more of is step in behind that jab, and then as they got in the pocket, duck down and take a left hook to the liver. I think that was there, and he probably would have hurt him, but he really is still learning. And honestly, his dad, I know when you have a boxing family, with their father training, but there's a reason that the father doesn't train Tyson anymore. He's got a ceiling as a trainer, so I think Tommy, I would have loved Sugar Hill to come in and work with Tommy for this fight, and obviously he didn't want to upset his dad probably, but I think for Tommy to progress, he has to probably eventually move beyond his father too.
He has skills. Skills. I think, do you think they should take the rematch? He should do the rematch.
I think the rematch is a big money maker, and 100% they should, because again, I agree with you. It was a competitive mismatch, but you learn more from losses than you ever do from a win in any sport. So I think Jake Paul will come back better and realize he has to add a little bit more to his golf bag, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, would you like to see that? I would like to see it a 10-rounder or would you keep it at 8?
That one other thing that didn't impress me with either guy, they were both gassed.
That's what I mean. That's why I was like, I'd be interested to see what would happen in that 9th round. But either way, it was entertaining. I think if you ordered it or if you watched it, however you watched it, you were entertained. That's all. It was entertaining. And that's
here's what I would like to see for that rematch is we know Usyk is didn't want to fight before the end of 2022, so he's out there for Tyson. And I would love to see those guys on the undercard of Tyson Usyk.
That would be probably one of the best undercards that a Fury fight has had, because their undercards, the promoter puts on pretty stinky undercards on a Fury fight. That's all I'll say. It's horrible, and I get it. I've talked about this before, where promoters, and they give it the explanation they give is it makes sense. We try to get a fight, we bid for the fight, but we have to pay the main event guys. So if we pay the main event guys more, we can't bring in such and such fighters. I'll agree with that economically, right? I understand numbers. You can bring in competitive fights, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the fights they do on undercard, top rank, and they have Fury, horrible undercards. Dreadful. So, but that's the one thing. Oh, go ahead.
You mentioned bringing in undercard. Let's give Jake Paul some respect. He definitely
absolutely deserves. I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
He is a big advocate for fighter pay, and he always funnels his money down to the undercard fighters so that they make more. And honestly, there's a lot I like about him. There really is, and that's one of the things, and I totally respect that. Yeah. I like that he called out Dana White, because Dana White, for the damage UFC fighters pay, he doesn't pay it. It's a pet.
No, because in UFC, I'm not a UFC expert. I don't watch a lot of it. If someone does, that's cool. I'm not knocking it. But you work for the company, basically.
Oh, yeah.
The company tells you who you're going to fight. Unless you're really good, they'll give you a couple of outs, meaning, okay, you don't want to fight, but you got to fight B or you got to fight C. You better say, if you don't, and if they've already let you go with A and B, you're going to fight C. And the pay you get in the UFC is awful. What those guys, the damage they take. Nurse Teresa's joined us.
Yes.
What did you think of the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fight?
I thought it was a very good fight.
Were we not entertained?
We were entertained.
Yes, we were.
Who told you to get the fight?
You did. You did, and we got it, and we had fun. And what did you say about Jake Paul? Remember, you had said he does the same thing over.
Yes, he kept repeating the same move.
Rinse and repeat. That's right.
Rinse and repeat, and you could tell where he was going to go.
Yeah. And what was I saying? Throw the left hook. Throw the left hook.
And that was the second time we saw
Tommy. We saw Tommy on I think it was had to be on a Tyson undercard, Tyson Fury. And we saw him somewhere. And
yeah, he's fought on Jake Paul's undercard before.
Okay.
When
I think when
Paul fought Askren, he was on the undercard too.
Was he? I know when we watched, I went, this kid should just do movies or something. He's very handsome, very in shape. It seems very nice. Because I was like, what I saw I forgot who he fought, but I'm like, this guy, and the guy had hit him with decent shots. I go, if this guy was like someone with power, he would drop him. But I keep saying Tyson. Tommy, he won. And again, they're novice professionals. I'd like to see him do it again. Would you like to see them fight again?
Oh, yeah.
Because it was entertaining.
It was very entertaining. I was very happy we got it.
Yeah. It was
and it should have been a unanimous decision.
Absolutely.
That American judge is obviously a subscriber to Jake Paul's YouTube channel. Or something.
Absolutely.
That was just horrible scoring.
Because we talked about it, Bella, that the promoter is Jake Paul.
No, I know.
So the commentary is very biased towards Jake Paul. Remember where I'm sitting there going, what are they talking about? Paul landed some punches. The other guy landed. Then they're showing the punch. You notice how they stopped showing the punch stat numbers after a certain round?
After 4 rounds. Yeah.
Let's just stop showing the punch stat numbers because it's not matching up with what we say.
and I was saying that. I was texting my buddy. I'm like, Sean Porter has got to be like laughing inside with some of the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. Like he's barely taking himself seriously, And
again, we already said we love Sean Porter,
and we do. We do.
That's the.
And Tommy Fury's here did not move until the 5th round.
This was funny. Nurse Teresa pointed this out. Tommy Fury has handsome man, movie star handsome. His hair was perfect until what round?
The fifth.
The fifth round, when finally he got messed up.
Yeah.
And that's
what.
Then we started laughing at that because we thought it was funny.
And see, that's a level of analysis that you will not get from either of us. So props to your
she
Sarita
pointed it
for
out
that.
and she goes,
Yeah.
Jake Paul won that round. I said, what are you talking about? Look at his hair. She goes, you finally hit him. She finally hit him. All right. All right. Thank you, Bella.
We're watching Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch is a good movie. I like Lilo and Stitch. But yeah, she said his hair's messed up. I went, oh my God, you're right. His hair is messed up. I thought Paul did some good things in spurts. He needs to make his spurts longer, we'll say. He's got to. I didn't follow. I guess you could have followed his training on YouTube or something. I didn't. It would have been interesting to see what they said. And again, when you're in there, you revert back to what you know the best. And it's, yes, we can knock who he fought, but he got in the ring. He beat MMA guys, whether they're old or whatever. But he won, and he does have. I agree with you, Anthony. He does have legit pop.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, the one thing I noticed about him that I see that is something he does have to fix is he trains hard. What's up, Pops? He trains really hard. I mean, he takes it seriously. So credit to him for that too.
Yes, he does. He moved to Puerto Rico. He trained.
But what he still hasn't learned to do is, and if you watch his body language in the ring, he still hasn't learned to relax in the ring. And when you're he should have gotten, he was pretty much tired by the third round, and as hard as he trained, he shouldn't have been. And that's just again just fighting too tight.
That's probably an anxiety thing, like you said, relax. Because what did George Foreman always say? If he could have done what he did when he came back as an older George Foreman, and he said it very politely, and I'm paraphrasing basically what he said. He said, I would have done much better against Ali or against other guys, because he said, by the fourth round, I was always exhausted because I was so tense. I couldn't relax. And it's very important to relax in boxing or whatever you do, because it keeps your breathing, everything calm. It keeps you calm. You function better.
And George was always so muscled up, and that's a good point too that Pops makes.
Yeah, it was a fun fight, Pops. We're gonna have hopefully we're gonna have Pops review on Friday or Saturday coming up to talk a little wrestling, a little Filsinger wrestling game, and then wrestling in general, amongst other things. And maybe we get his brother on, professional wrestler. Pops reviews brothers, professional wrestler.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Let's since he talks about being on the level.
Yep.
Were you aware of the leaked script of the fight?
No, did someone say that? Before you say this, when we were getting the fight, I was telling Teresa, I wonder if they're gonna pull the old draw routine, a moneymaker, the oldest thing in the book. You pull the draw routine, you have the rematch, you can get 3 fights out of it. I did not know. No, someone leak the script?
So you know who Mike Perry is, right? MMA guy.
Not really. So
I'll just a brief synopsis of him. He's fought in the UFC. He's kind of he's probably taken way too many shots to the head because he's a little off. He really is. But he fights bare knuckle boxing. He's MMA. He also has sparred with Jake Paul.
Okay.
And yesterday he released a script of the fight that indicated how the fight was going to go. And I'll read it to you.
Yeah, read it.
Actually, let me bring it up on my computer.
Okay. Then I'll share the screen. I think I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I think I have to do a screen share or something. I'm not.
I can do that.
Okay.
It's interesting, and I guess Perry was supposedly a backup fighter if something happened and
went wrong.
Tommy Furry had to pull out or whatever. So okay, let me bring this up.
Let's see if I can do this. No, not gonna work.
All right, so let's see if I can share my screen here. 1 second.
So I guess there was a script supposedly leaked. And again, I thought the fight was on the up and up. I watched it. Unless they're the best actors. But that's interesting.
This from my see
You're cutting in and out, Anthony.
what the music's going to, and obviously they missed both too. Huh?
You were cutting in and out like I lost.
What's that?
You were cutting in and out. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, can you see the script though?
No, I'm going. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay.
Here, I'll quit share. I'm gonna.
There it goes. Yes, it's up now.
What's that?
Just make sure that nothing runs here. Okay. All right. So now it's tough to read. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Well, can you read it? Some of it, because it's tough to read on this.
Yeah. So this is as it. So they named the for both fighters, and they got both of those wrong. Then round one, fighters start cautiously circling each other, throwing jabs. Jake Paul lands a solid left hook, responds with a quick right hand.
Oh, we lost Anthony. I think when we either lost his feed, but we'll see if Anthony can come back. We're having a little technical difficulties that happen sometimes when you stream. So once again, I'd like to say hello to Pops Reviews, MV, Michael Canastari. Hope all is well. How's everything going, Michael? David Selinsky, W. Vogs. We're doing well and hope you're feeling better. Bears Den 007. Anthony's rejoined us. There we go.
All right, so that screen, that shot of the script kind of hung up, but
yeah,
they basically went through the walkout music and how the fight was going to start. They start throwing jabs, but then in the fourth round, Tommy Furry was supposed to get swelling around his left eye.
Well, that didn't happen.
And that's the ridiculous part, because people are jumping on that like, oh my God, look, you can't script a swollen eye, because eyes react so much differently. And then by the fifth round, they were going to say,
so to me, it sounds like someone wanted attention. That's what it sounds
and that's the kind of guy Mike Perry is. But the way the script said the fight would go is that the doctor would examine the eye in the eighth and stop it. And then, of course, Tommy Furry would say you should get a rematch, and then that's how they'd get everyone to get on board with the rematch. So obviously, it didn't go that way, but
well, what really happened was they had a pretty entertaining fight. Tommy Furry won, and Jake Paul will exercise his rematch. Let me just get to Michael Canasteri real quick. Michael, stay strong. You will win. You will win. It's always good to see you, my friend. So prayers and thoughts go out to Michael. Everyone give him the good vibes as he battles cancer, and he will win.
Yes.
But
and definitely positive vibes, Michael, for sure. For sure.
The again, I know I keep saying it. The fight was entertaining. There's no, in my opinion, shenanigans with it, except for the American judge who needs a seeing eye dog to help him judge the fights. The one thing that is concerning, again, it was a Jake Paul promotion. Whatever the company's called, it's a Jake Paul promotion.
Yeah.
And everything was very biased, not over the top bias with it. Well, it was, but it's that bias where they try to, it's that bias where they try to show they're not biased, but they are. I don't know how else to describe it. They try to hide their bias. And that was kind of annoying throughout the thing. Again, Anthony pointed out a really good point. I would not have known there was a Cruiserweight Championship fight, which was a very entertaining fight. Nurse Teresa and I enjoyed it. Again, Nurse Teresa is a casual boxing fan. She likes sports, loves football, loves baseball, enjoys hockey. Casual boxing fan. And she said, this was a really good fight. Did they even talk about this? I'm like, no, until it came up. So that's the only concerning thing when you have the promote. And you know what? They did get the result right. They got the result right.
Yeah.
But the American judge was way off. Pop's review. Anthony, you should put Paul's in Glory Days Boxing and give them a trait that they can only fight boxers with records under 10 fights. That's not a bad trait. It's funny.
So initially, there was no way that either of them were ever going to get a card in.
I remember that because someone did ask you in the Facebook group. I think.
Hell no. But I'm actually maybe considering it now for Jake Paul for the next real life set. So we'll see.
I think it'd be fun if you even did Tommy Furry because you could, just have that fight over. Again, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. What idiotic title was on the line there? I couldn't pick up on it. I was like, what did they say?
It was a title named after the city. And you know what? Only the WBC would do that. They invented a title named after the place they were having the fight.
Okay. So it was like the New England State Heavy Cruiserweight Championship, which basically okay. And these guys don't even live there. They're just like, yeah, you're fighting for the title for the city. Okay, that's cool.
So that title will never be defended, and that's it is what it is. And that's the other thing I worry about with the Alphabet Boys because they know they're about money and they know how much money Jake Paul can make. So I could even see them creating a world title that he can win.
A 6-round thing, an 8-round thing,
like a butterbean title. Or something.
Yeah. The other thing. And it had to be Derek Chisora was there at the presser. And he had said, and I heard something else. And I thought at first, this got to be a joke, right? And they said, like, if the winner looked good, they'll give him a top. 2 guys who never fought a top 10 fighter. We're going to get a top 10 in the WBC, right? We're going to get a WBC ranking. And I'm sitting there going, do you want to get both these guys murdered?
Yeah.
They face a top 10 fighter or a champion. So.
Well, let's be honest. If I did rate them for Glory Days Boxing, they would both be 4 or 5 stars. And that's it. And that's probably 5 stars has probably been generous.
Generous. I was just going to say that because they're young. Pop's review. The opponent gets an automatic -1 on their scorecards. Yes, they do.
You know what? I might make a trait where every round that Jake Paul wins, he gets 2,000 more YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, that'd be funny. So, but again, we make a little jest of it. The fight was entertaining. Jake Paul trains hard. He tried hard. Tommy Furry tried hard. And it's a good point you make, Anthony. For both guys were gassed. What was it, around the 6th round? Definitely the 7th and 8th. They were gassed.
Oh, yeah.
Both the guys.
They gassed out early. And, there weren't a lot of punches. Tommy Furry threw twice as many and landed twice as many almost as Jake.
Yeah.
But, still, it wasn't like it was an all out. It wasn't Gotti Ward, in terms of punch volume.
But again, we've stated it was entertaining. And if you're just joining us, I think, Anthony, I forgot what round you said. They no longer brought up punch stat numbers because they just didn't jive with what the non-biased
with the narrative were saying. Yeah. They did. They brought up punch stats at the end of round 4, and it was decisively. It was 44-27 Fury punches landed then. And that was the last time.
That's the last time you heard about punch stats.
Yeah.
I mean, because they kept talking how these rounds were close. And I was like, no, Paul would do 1 to 2 good things. He would do so. He tried all through the fight. He tried. But it was rinse and repeat, dip, throw the overhand right, then try to throw the left hook. I'm in absolute agreement with Anthony. Paul can crack. It'd be interesting to see if he can progress. That he has to learn. He wants to learn. I don't know if BJ Flores really is his trainer. If I was him, I'd get a trainer.
Well, he's got the money to pull in top guys too. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I could even, because he loves Tyson Fury. I could see them even trying to work, in his.
Yes, that was my other thought. Yeah.
But I think he's serious about it. I mean, I think he's dedicated to the sport. So, again, respect for that. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you invite all the criticism and hate that he invites upon himself. But you see him, and I watched a few interviews leading up to the fight. He knows what he's doing. He's an intelligent guy, and when he wants to speak articulately, he can. And he's
absolutely.
Speak in a humble way too. So I'm not saying I'm a full blown Jake Paul fan, but I'm definitely.
I don't dislike him as much.
I respect him for sure.
I do. I don't dislike. Now with Tommy, that I have to be honest, I've seen a little bit of him on YouTube. I watched that undercard fight, probably 2 undercard fights on the Fury cards, or definitely one on the Fury card. That's probably the best he's looked. I think he was really up and motivated not to lose to this. And he won, and he legitimately won. The knockdown I keep saying that in my mind, in the 8th was a legit knockdown by Jake Paul. People will say, no, it wasn't. He caught Fury coming in with a jab, and Fury went down. He caught him. I believe it was a jab. It was a straight punch, and he just caught him.
And it was, it's again, an inexperienced thing. Fury's footwork was bad.
Yeah.
And he got caught. His front leg slipped out from under him. And if you get hit and you go down, even if your footwork's bad, it's still a knockdown.
Unless you get tripped.
Yeah.
And he did not get tripped. I waited because they showed the replay because I wanted to see if the feet got tangled. And like Anthony said, doesn't matter if your footwork's bad and you're in the wrong position. You're off balance, you got hit, you go down. That's a knockdown. Pops reviews. If Fury would have doubled his jab or even tripled his jab, Paul would not have had an answer for that. But yes, give respect for anyone who gets in the ring. Now, like Anthony said, Pops, he did use a lot of jabs, but I wanted him to use I'm in agreement with Pop's reviewer. I want him to double up on it and then throw the right or feint the right, come back with the left to the bottom. I look at things sometimes less is more, meaning still throw punches, but don't just throw punches to throw punches. Throw 3, 3, 3, reset, 3, reset, slide this way, 3, and you just rat-a-tat the guy.
Well, and you saw one thing Jake did a lot is when he'd get that jab, he'd turn like this.
Yeah.
So he's getting hit in the side of his head.
Yes.
And that's double up and switch your feet so you can catch him with the right. Yep. And, and again, that's experience with Jake Paul. He doesn't have muscle memory. It's human instinct when you're getting hit to turn away from the blow instead of move into it. And he doesn't do it all the time, but he does it enough that it shows how inexperienced he is as a fighter. So he'll have a lot of stuff to take back from this fight and get better on and learn and get more instinctive on as he progresses. And I don't think he should take the rematch with Fury right away. I think he should fight another boxer, but fight a boxer who is less of an opponent, a payday guy. And it's obviously going to be hard to drum up interest. But again, at some point, you're going to have to do what traditional fighters do, which is
learn the trade,
hone your skills in the ring against lesser opponents, not opponents that will make a lot of money. So, you know what? Get on an undercard of somebody else's fight against a lesser boxer, and then maybe come back and exercise a rematch clause 2 fights from now.
I like that idea. I don't think he'll do it.
No, he won't.
But I agree.
They'll get an immediate rematch.
For him, it's about, yes, I'm going to try hard. It's how do I max out?
Yeah. I
mean, I'm stuck on the, hold on. Ugh, sorry. My chair got stuck. Anyway,
let's talk about a development in the last 2 days, 2 of world-class boxers.
Yes.
So Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez will be fighting Josh Taylor June 10th for the junior welterweight title.
Oh, nice.
It is nice, but also baffling because Lopez's last 2 performances, a loss and a less than impressive performance against Sandor Martin, aren't really worthy of a title shot, in my opinion.
I think that's more of a promotion. We can make some money with him. Do you think Lopez, and I hope not because I like him, is he one of those guys like peaked and then.
I think one of his strong points was his confidence. Like the Lomachenko fight. And granted, Lomachenko fought a horrible fight. He basically gave him 6 rounds to start the fight. Can't do that. But Lopez is always so supremely confident, and his father as well. And what you've seen in the last 2 fights, especially the Kambosos fight, if you go and listen to that corner, because they went to that corner a lot, his dad did not give him a single piece of technical advice. He was better in the Martin fight, but still his dad was more a cheerleader. So their whole game, and I still think Teofimo Lopez is a generational talent. I do. He's that good.
And you have said you think he should change trainers from his father.
100%.
Yeah, I remember you talking.
But I think up here, he doubts himself now. And I don't know that putting him in against Taylor is a very wise move, because I think that's a fight he's going to lose. And I think it will destroy him if he does, because did you catch after his fight against Martin where he was off camera, but the mic caught him? He was asking one of his entourage, he's like, do I still have it?
No, I didn't hear that. But when doubt creeps into your mind in a sport like boxing or any combat sport, or football, and if you have started doubt, that's part of the battle. The mind, you have to be confident that you can win. Wow. And again, he had fought so brilliantly against Lomachenko. Again, Lomachenko had, I'm going to feel him out. His father and him, we're going to feel him out for what? Well, you felt him out for 6 rounds. You lost the first 6 rounds. You might have won 3 of the next 3, like even, or 4 of the next 2, but you lost that fight, and Lopez fought a brilliant fight, because even the rounds that Lomachenko won, it was actually funny because Lomachenko just started throwing more punches.
Yeah.
And then Lopez didn't know how to deal with it. Then Lopez adapted, and Lomachenko adapted. So the second half of the fight was much more entertaining than the first half, even though the first half was entertaining to me to see what Lopez did to Lomachenko. And it wasn't, again, the Lomachenko and his dad make it sound like, we didn't throw punches for 6 rounds. True. But Lopez did a lot of good things to keep you from throwing punches, because you were trying to figure him out, and he was doing all kinds of different, very clever things. I like Lopez. The lack, when his whole thing was the machismo thing. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. You can't beat me. And I didn't hear that mic. Like what you just said, I didn't know that. And that's for Taylor. He must think this is a money fight and I can win, and this is going to propel me.
And it's Jack Catterall got kind of screwed, because I think he beat Taylor and deserved a rematch. But Taylor's playing it smart. It's going to be in New York, Lopez's hometown, so he's going to make more money defending against Lopez than he would with a rematch against Catterall, who is at this point a bigger threat to him than Lopez is going to be.
Though Lopez, again, don't sleep on him. He's still, if he gets his head right, gets that. But it's tough when you get that doubt. And I'm not comparing Dwayne Bobbick to Lopez. I'm just saying, when the doubt creeps into your mind. Now, Bobbick had other circumstances, which I'm very fascinated with Dwayne Bobbick, just because certain things. I didn't know that all of a sudden he had a back issue or a nerve issue that affected him like he couldn't throw his punches hard. But it was more a confidence thing, that he just lost his confidence, and they kept throwing him in with guys when they should have. And again, they built him up, and he didn't really fight guys. But this was a guy who beat Teofimo Stevenson in the Pan Am Games. Yes, he got knocked out at the Olympics, but you have to understand, he beat Teofimo Stevenson. He beat Larry Holmes in the amateurs. And again, Holmes in the amateurs is not Holmes in the professional. I get that. But he made him quit. He made him basically turn his back. So the guy, when people say he didn't have to. So that's what I'm saying, when the mind is not right. I talk about this with people. I've told it. We've discussed it, Anthony. The only person, until Tyson Fury gets old, all of a sudden a fighter will get old, and you're things don't work the way you want. The only person who can beat Tyson Fury when he's right, we'll say in his prime, against pretty much anybody now, is Tyson Fury. It's if his mind's not right, or if he underestimates the guy. So with Lopez, the confidence thing, and I I hope I'm wrong, but he could be one of the, and then it's done because it's up here.
Well, it is, and we've seen, another good example is Pepino Cuevas. He wrecked people.
Great example.
Thomas Hearns, once he lost to Hearns,
was done.
It's like he lost his chin.
And you have to understand. I know you understand. Pepino Cuevas, if you don't know who he is, look him up on YouTube. He was one of the most feared punchers, and he was reckless, and he was fearless, and he was like, I'm gonna destroy everybody. When Tommy Hearns destroyed him, he was all done. He lost to before he lost to Duran at super middleweight. I'm sorry, super welterweight, junior middleweight. He got upset by, was it Stafford upset him? But yeah, he lost his confidence basically.
Yeah,
he was never the same.
And confidence is such a huge thing in boxing too. I mean, in any sport. But especially boxing, because in boxing, I mean, you do not have teammates, right? And he did after Hearns. He lost Stafford to Roger Stafford. Yeah.
Yep.
He lost 4 of his next 7 fights after that.
Yeah, and he was he was feared. He was feared. He wrecked Pete Ranzani, who was a good fighter. Ranzani was good, and he wrecked him. Pete Ranzani was from Sacramento or California, definitely. He was a California, and he wrecked Pete Ranzani. And he wrecked a lot of guys. So confidence, as I get a little Gatorade.
No, it's totally huge. And another guy that was affected by that is oh my God, I just had him on the tip of my tongue. Shoot.
What weight class, Anthony?
Davey Moore. Davey Moore too.
Davey Moore. Davey Moore is a great tragic end motorcycle or car accident. I can't remember. I think it was motorcycle.
He was actually, I think, working on a car in his driveway, and it fell on him.
The car is something that was horrible. It's horrible. I like Davey Moore, but he basically was sent to Japan as an opponent to feed up to the Japanese world champion, and that fight is a good fight. That the beauty of YouTube, Anthony's always said, I said, you can go back and watch a ton of fights, so you can get your opinion on a fighter. So Davey Moore is sent to Japan. He took the fight, gets a title shot in his 9th fight or 8th fight, something like that, and he knocks the guy out. Then he goes to he fought a South African. I can't remember if it was in South Africa. He beats him. Then he beats somebody else. He gets the big money fight with Duran because Duran was not looking good. Duran had lost to Benitez, had outpointed him, I believe. I believe he had outpointed him at junior middleweight. This is prior to before Duran got knocked out by Hearns. Very Pepino Cuevas-like. And that was Duran mugged him at Madison Square Garden. It was brutal. The one person who was able to overcome some real, you thought he was done, was Roberto Duran. He had confidence. He had some horrific losses where people said he's done, and he came back, and he came back, and he came back.
And one interesting, fun thing with Davey Moore too is a fight before Duran. He beat Gary Guyton.
Knocked him out and you, yes, go ahead. This is a great story. Yes.
And yeah, it's kind of cool because I think it's Gary Guyton's nephew actually reached out to me and asked if I knew his uncle, and I ended up making a card. He got his uncle the game. Yeah. And I ended up making a card for Gary Guyton and sent it to him, and then eventually released it in the second supplement set too. So it's kind of cool. That's happened a couple of times with people who've had relatives that have boxed that I made cards for. Gene Linscott is another one that's in one of the supplement sets too. But just little stuff like that relates to the game has been very, I guess, rewarding for me.
And just in case you don't know, we're talking about Glory Days Boxing. Anthony Crooks is the creator of that wonderful card and dice boxing game. Flows very well. Very reasonably priced, whether for the print or PDF. And so what Anthony's saying is the nephew of a professional boxer who is obviously retired by now reached out to Anthony and said, do you know my uncle? Have you heard of my uncle? Anthony did. And Anthony made a card, and the nephew had purchased the game and gave it to his uncle. And that is cool. That is really, really cool. So, yeah, then Davey Moore, when I think, was it Mustafa Hinch? Because then he stepped up to middleweight. He didn't have success. He won a couple of fights, but I like Davey Moore.
He beat Wolf. He actually stopped Wilford Benitez in 2.
He stopped Wilford Benitez, though.
And then he just kind of went on a win one.
Was it Buster Drayton who beat him?
Who?
Was Buster Drayton beat Davey Moore?
Yeah, Buster Drayton took him out in 10 for the IBF light middleweight title.
Okay, that was.
And then he beat Cecil Pettigrew, then lost to Lupe Aquino, and then John David Jackson beat him too.
Yeah, and then unfortunately the accident that cost him his life. Hello, Cutter Historical. King Tuan, hope all is well. Check out those two wonderful YouTube channels. Excuse me, boxing's on the brain right now. Now, Deontay Wilder was in Saudi Arabia, hinting at a big announcement soon. Do you think? And what do you think it's Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder?
I'm thinking more Andy Ruiz, actually.
Now, didn't he beat Andy Ruiz already?
They haven't fought.
They haven't fought. Okay, I got it.
And that actually would be
that's a fun fight then.
Yeah, I agree, because
that's a fun fight.
Wilder has the most powerful right hand in the game, and Ruiz can get hit.
Yep.
He does get hit, but he's tough and gets back up too. And it's just a matter, I guess, of him. And that's the other thing. Ruiz has been hurt by the fact that he does get tired. And, you look at him, he's not an Adonis, and you don't have to be a good boxer, but
it'd be nice to see Andy Ruiz. I don't know why I thought they fought. But it'd be nice to see Andy Ruiz get in some sort of boxing shape because he has quick hands. He fights very well on the inside. He's what I like to call at times an aggressive counterpuncher, because he'll let you make the mistake, right? That's how he caught Anthony Joshua. Joshua actually had him hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua came in for the kill. Well, and I've watched that over and over again. I thought, the first time I said, well, maybe it was a lucky punch. Yes and no, because Ruiz still had, even though I think he was hurt. I believe he even went down and got up. I got to remember, but he was badly hurt, but he still had his wits about him. Joshua moved in, and boy, did he counter him. I'd like to, it'd be interesting. And then Joshua in the rematch box, very smart. I think that'd be a hell of a fight, because what does Wilder always do? Back up with his head straight.
Mm-hmm.
So you think
that plays into they're both going to get hit.
Yep.
Wilder fatigues too, just because he's so thickly muscled. I mean, he almost needs to cut some of his muscle. But I think it's a very interesting fight. If Ruiz can stand up to that right hand, I think he's got a chance to beat Deontay Wilder. Honestly,
because I think Ruiz is actually the more skilled boxer for what he does. He's more natural. I guess that's the word. He's more he'll let his hands go. Where Wilder, he lets his hand, but he's looking to load up, and there's nothing, because he hits so hard. Hard. I just wish Wilder would work on, like, throw a left to the body once in a while, because he can crack with both hands. Obviously, the right a little better. At least, well, that's where he usually gets most of his knockouts, but he can crack with both hands. But he backs up straight. He's rinse and repeat, but the rinse and repeat is big enough to win a lot of fights.
And he's so long too. I mean, he's built like a heavyweight version of Thomas Hearns with his body structure.
But he doesn't really know how to use it, though.
No, he's nowhere near the boxer Hearns. Hearns doesn't get enough credit for how good of a technical boxer.
Hearns was a tremendous technical fighter.
Very good.
Tremendous technical fighter.
So, that's a good fight. We've got the best fights coming up are, to me, in the lightweight division.
Right.
We're looking at Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, which is a very interesting fight. Haney Lomachenko, another and it's an interesting fight, but I think right now Devin Haney is the best boxer. Yeah, I think so. I think he decisions him, and Loma's young record wise, but age wise he's old, and then in terms of ring, I mean,
Yep.
God, he's had over 300 and something amateur fights. You know, so he's kind of worn down. I think Haney, unfortunately, probably beats him pretty easily. But Garcia and Davis is a very intriguing fight for sure.
I hope Davis beats Garcia. I think Garcia's.
I'm not. I'm
not
like
a big
Davis.
fan of his. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm not either.
He has skill. He has skill. I think he's there because he can make money, and that's good. Don't get me wrong. But I forgot the English boxer, the UK fighter who dropped him, who made a bad decision not to jump on him because he might have took him out that time. Oh God, he hit him with a beautiful counter shot, and instead of jumping on him, he tried to repeat the same trap. And to Garcia's credit, he didn't fall for it. Pop's Review says Wilder also has skinny legs, which are another weakness to him.
Yeah, and one thing that was interesting to me in his, he released some videos when he was leading up to his third fight with Fury. They're showing how much he was bench pressing,
which means nothing. Nothing in boxing.
Not a thing in the ring, and he does have skinny legs. I mean, Hearns had skinny legs too, and it didn't hurt him so much as a welterweight because he was proportioned. But you know, you saw as he went up to super middleweight, light heavyweight, that the legs did hurt him in terms of being able to take a punch. And that's,
I think if I trained Deontay Wilder, I've already said it, work on the jab more. I'd like to see him feint the right a bit so you can walk someone into that left hook. He's not a good Can he hurt you on the inside? Yes. Is he a good inside fighter? No. Again, just my opinion. If I was training Deontay Wilder, you know, three punches, jab, right hand, feint, right hand, left to the bottom. Just keep it with 3 punches. I don't want you. It doesn't mean you stop after 3 punches. It just means you reassess what's going on and you rinse and repeat. Yeah. I know, but you can do 3 punches in different ways that you're not being predictable. I just think at times. The thing with Tyson, it's funny because Nurse Teresa and I were talking about the first fight, the Tyson Fury fight, which she didn't watch with me, but like I showed her over on some of it on replay. I said people were mad because they said, "Oh, Fury won the first fight." I'm like, "No, he didn't. He got dropped. It was a draw, you know." But Fury should have won the first fight. What he did was too much. He actually changed trainers after the first fight, right? Yeah. He did too much. Wilder would miss, and he was like playing. Dude, play once and then go bing, bing, which he did in the next fights. And he actually was more aggressive in the next 2 fights.
Oh, yeah. And he's so awkward, too. And by the way, the guy you're thinking of with Garcia was Luke Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell. Beautiful trap he set. I think Campbell, southpaw. Is he southpaw? Whatever. Yeah. He set a beautiful trap and he dropped him with a straight punch. It was just beautiful. Then he tried to repeat it. When he should have just jumped on him. He had the opportunity.
Yeah, Steve. No, but Wilder, I'm not Fury, I'm sorry, Tyson, not Tommy.
Right.
He is such an awkward. It's funny. He is the most uncoordinated, fluid boxer.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he should be able to do the stuff he does.
No. And it's just with him, it's just so instinctive. I mean, he really
talent,
is. His technique
at
times is sloppy. It really is sloppy, but he's so instinctive and just he manages distance and space so well. Plus, he's a big guy, obviously.
And he uses his size and weight to perfection. Really go back when he came to the U.S. for the first time, fought in Madison Square Garden against Stevie Cunningham. Former cruiser. I think he did win a cruiserweight title. I could be, or a top contender, but he stepped up a little bit to, more money in heavyweight. And he was a smallish heavyweight, but he could crack. Stevie Cunningham could crack a bit, and he dropped Tyson Fury. And God rest his soul, my dad were watching the fight, and when my dad said when he didn't get him right, he goes, "He's done." I said, "What do you mean?" Fury goes, "No." He goes, "Cunningham's done. Watch what." He goes, if you've been watching, he always tries to lean on him. He's going to wear him down. And he just wore him down, and then he knocked him out. Fury has the intellect. And again, I've said it. The only person who can beat Tyson Fury until he gets, when you lose things at some point. We all age and we don't do the same. Our mind says do this, but athletically you can't do it as well. It happens the most. Fury can only beat Fury. I've seen him fight lesser guys and he fights down to them. I forgot the Eastern European fighter who nearly beat him. He didn't win because of the cut. Fury had a horrific cut, and I can't remember the guy's name, but what could have been different boxing history if Fury lost that fight, which he did.
And that's it. And that his name slips my mind too. I'll get it real quick.
You know the fight I'm talking about? The guy nailed him, and he fought a good fight.
Cut him. And the funny thing is, though, Usyk fights like that guy, only he's better. So that,
but I think
that
Fury
could be a
highly
very
motivated
matchup.
And I want to see that fight. Hopefully they make that fight before Fury retires. The thing I noticed in the second Joshua-Usyk fight, Joshua applied a little more pressure, made Usyk very uncomfortable. Now, Usyk again won that fight easily I hate saying easy. He won the fight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Joshua did some things a little better. I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury and the trainer, Sugar Hill, right? Is it Sugar Hill?
Sugar Hill Stewart.
They're going to notice what Anthony Joshua was able to do to make Usyk uncomfortable. And Tyson Fury is just so naturally talented. He works hard. And sometimes he doesn't look. Again, you don't have to be body beautiful. He's tough. He's tough. He's strong. And some people say, oh, stamina. You might think, well, he doesn't look. He fights and fights and fights no matter what happens. So his stamina must be pretty good.
No, he's very efficient, and that's how he's able to do what there's really not much wasted motion with him.
And he's relaxed. He's relaxed.
Very relaxed.
We were talking about that earlier about being relaxed. He's very relaxed. So he does not get the stress, the anxiety or stress fatigue. And
Otto Wallen was the fighter that cut him.
Yeah. And you never heard any more about him after that because he probably didn't. I'm not that I know who but I remember that fight. So do you think they'll make the Fury Usyk fight in the near future?
There was rumors going into this Paul Tommy fight that with him and Wilder both over there, they were going to use it to announce Fury Wilder 4.
I don't want to see it. I mean, I'd watch it, but
I would watch it, but we don't need to see that.
No.
We've seen it 3 times.
No.
And I think for me, let Wilder fight Ruiz and then maybe the winner of that. But I think you have to make Usyk Fury. And Usyk just didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight until the first quarter of this year. So if they can get it together for March, well, it's probably March. It's already almost March. Probably June or July at this point in time. I think that's a fight.
Now, do you think that's a Saudi Arabia fight?
Probably. It could be a Saudi Arabia fight. It definitely would be a great fight to have at Wembley for sure.
Oh, that's the atmosphere. The atmosphere there is just incredible. That's all I can say. And that, to me, that's part of the enjoyment of boxing atmosphere. Now,
but Saudi Arabia or Dubai would probably be a good neutral site to have that fight.
What do you think Anthony Joshua is going to do?
I don't know how much he wants to box anymore. And here, I've always said this about Joshua. He is the most talented athlete in the heavyweight division. He is, not even close. He does not have a lot of the other tangible things that you need to be a top boxer. I think he does it because he's good at it and he makes money at it. I don't think he does it like Wilder or Fury, because he loves the sport, And I don't want to ever say a fighter doesn't have heart, because you have to have heart to get in the ring.
Get in the ring, yeah.
But for sure. But I think he's not one of those guys that can power through those tough moments in the ring as well as some other fighters do, honestly. He's not, I don't think he's 1,000% into the sport like some other top boxers are. And it's a shame. If you could combine him and Fury, you'd probably have the perfect fighter.
But Fury's just, I've said this, and I love the fighters throughout history, right, Anthony? I'm being honest with you. Tyson Fury gives anybody. Again, we're saying prime versus prime. Everyone in the right mind, good training camp. Both. He does things. He can box. He can punch. He knows how he moves instinctively. Yeah. I think he gives anyone in history extreme trouble. Again, it's just my opinion. It's size, everything. And I don't say that. I don't really say that about the Klitschko's. They had size, they had boxing ability, and they would be difficult. Again, we'll just leave it to 60s and above. Even then, we'll say 70s, late 60s, because the heavyweights were smallish. It's going to be tough on them. It's going to be tough because of the size differential. The Klitschko's were really good. Not my favorite boxers, really good. But I don't see them in the same light as Tyson Fury because I think he also brings a charisma to boxing. And I just think Larry Holmes might give him trouble. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Larry Holmes is a great fighter. I don't mean it that way. I mean, that's an interesting matchup. I'll leave it there. Oh, yeah. Ali, obviously. George Foreman, young George Foreman, if he hits you, right? But at some point, if he doesn't, that's an interesting. Again, these are just hypothetical things.
I think old George Foreman gives him a better fight than young George Foreman.
Yes,
I would see young George Foreman being a repeat of Wilder fight. See, like we talked about earlier, he said he fought very tense. He was heavily muscled, and Pops makes that point in the chat too. He carries a lot of muscle mass, as does Deontay, which you get fatigued because that lactic acid.
Builds up.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
Yeah. And SGJ Jamie was here. Goes, I love boxing. Surprised that anyone likes to do it. the most you got to have some sort of want to do it because it's not easy.
You got to have a screw loose. I've never said used to like getting hit, but it was thrilling in a way. And I look now, and I'll go out still and work on the heavy bag in the backyard, and I'll take my breaks, and sometimes I'll just be with the gloves like this. I'm like,
this hurts.
Feel good. Why would I want to be hit ever? But when I was young, it didn't bother me that much. Now I have no desire to get hit, but I'm old.
What were your thoughts? If you want to play a little modern fighters against 70s and up, or whatever fighter, it doesn't matter. I'll throw a couple of. We'll get a little. This will be fun. I think. I just thought of this. So we'll go. Let's do. We'll do a couple of Tyson Furies first. Tyson Fury, Joe Frazier.
Ooh. I think that's actually a tough fight for Fury because Frazier was so relentless and could go. I think Fury would win a decision in that fight, but I think Frazier would give him some anxious moments. I don't think Fury hits hard enough to dissuade him. Obviously what George Foreman did to Frazier to slow him down. But I think that's a close fight. I think that actually would be a classic fight to watch. Fury close decision.
I think the one thing I'll compare, but again, I like to compare fights that are possibly similar. Joe Bugner, Joe Frazier, but Frazier's past his prime. Okay. And again, I said prime versus prime. Bugner had a style, and actually Bugner stayed in the pocket a lot in that fight. And he was able to hit Frazier with a lot of shots. Good. That was a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid remembering it a bit, but you can watch that whole fight on YouTube. And Bugner goes down, but Bugner gets up and still fights.
And that's the thing. Joe Frazier will never be remembered for his defensive prowess.
No.
Ever.
No.
You could hit
But
him.
I think some people, because I've seen some things on when people have put on little what if fights, Fury and Frazier, where Frazier gets knocked a lot. I'm like, man, I get it. You like Tyson Fury. I like Tyson Fury too, but you're not giving the other guy credit. You just think he's going to get, because they think about, what George Foreman did to him. Okay. Joe Frazier lost 4 fights, 2 to Ali and 2 to Foreman. And he had a draw with Jumbo Cummings in 1980. And people like, oh, he looked horrible in that fight. I've actually watched that fight over 4 times. Did he look old? Yeah. Did he look horrible? No. He just realized I can't do this anymore. He was actually really effective in that fight with his right hand. It was pretty funny. He never threw the left hook a lot, but so that's interesting. Let me just go here real quick. MV, Joe wouldn't catch up to Fury. Possibly, but if Joe was relentless. If he caught up, again, Ali is not in his prime, but so Fury would play at times, and that's where Frazier could possibly.
I think he'd be able to get inside and catch him, but what Fury would do is just lean on him.
Right, and the size differential, that's where
for sure.
Frazier would do okay if he fought Fury before Ali took it to Joe. Interesting. Yeah, those are all valid thoughts. As MV says, Fury's now.
I agree. Fury's jab would absolutely punish Joe Frazier.
And if he just wanted to jab, yes. As he says, Fury would mug him. And again, all valid points. Okay, let's do an Fury George Foreman Young.
It would be a repeat of the Wilder fight.
Yeah.
Honestly. I think he'd stop him late.
Fury, you would think Fury would stop him. Yeah, I agree.
Because George, it's like when he fought Jimmy Young, when he fights talented boxers that can survive those first few rounds when he was young.
Yeah.
And just get him tired out, and he'd probably stop him 8th or 9th round. I think older George Foreman
that was going to be okay. Yeah, go.
Is a much better matchup for him.
Where Foreman as an older fighter, again, I know he pressed the fight a little bit, but he was really an aggressive counterpuncher when he fought, say, like a Holyfield. When he fought, guys, and he gave Holyfield a hell of a fight at that age. He beat Michael Moore on a counter. I mean, I know Moore came in and he went 1-2, fight's over.
Yeah.
Fury, Larry Holmes. This, to me, is an interesting fight.
I think Larry Holmes beats him. I think Larry Holmes does not get enough respect. Yeah. I just don't. Larry Holmes is a top 5 all-time fighter for sure.
Larry Holmes is a fabulous fighter.
I mean, probably the best jab in the heavyweight division, and he would decision Fury, I think, and it would be good fight, but I don't think Holmes does what Fury does, but he does it with a lot more technical skill. So I think he beats him by decision.
MV thinks Foreman would catch him and knock him out. I don't. Again, this is what's fun about it. I think Deontay Wilder hits pretty damn hard. So that's what I base. Very similar, but I think Foreman technically even though he was lumbering at times as I think he was technically much better than Deontay Wilder. Not box beautiful, but he had the natural instincts. One last one for Fury, Mike Tyson.
Which Mike Tyson?
We're gonna say Mike Tyson after he beats Burbick.
So Customato Mike Tyson.
Kevin Rooney, yes, Customato Kevin Rooney.
Customato Kevin Rooney.
Yep. Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you what I think. Because
I like to go. I think he is the one person that could get inside. Tyson was strong. I think he could get inside. I think he could make Fury miss too, because he was very effective with his head movement. It's the size matchup, the size difference, though, is such a huge thing.
Think Tyson, if he's able to hurt Fury early, goes into bully mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Fury doesn't get phased by bully mentality.
No.
If Fury, again, these are just fun hypotheticals. If Fury survives whatever Tyson throws early, I honestly think Fury stops Mike Tyson late, even the young Mike Tyson.
He could, and I don't. The one intangible for Tyson is he had such fast hands, and he threw punches from such unique angles. So he's going to, if he gets inside that range, he's going to give Tyson Fury things that he's probably not going to be able to deal with. So I agree with you to a point there too. I think if it lasts 5 rounds or less, Tyson knocks him out. I think if it goes late, Fury stops him in the 11th or 12th.
And again, Mike Tyson has the power.
Yeah.
You can debate where he ranks amongst the heavyweights, but he has the power to be competitive, if not beat any heavyweight in history.
Let's be honest. If Tyson was 6'2" and had stayed with D'Amato his entire career, and if D'Amato had lived in Rooney,
right?
I mean, we'd be talking about him as the greatest, probably. I mean, he had that much skill and that much power and speed.
MV says Fury on a normal night is Douglas on a good night. But again, we're taking right. So it's like a whole career, but I still think like Tyson, Fury's a different beast. So if Fury could last long enough and punish Tyson coming in, I don't think Tyson. I go back to the Tony Tucker fight, and Tyson adapted and made basically that was a 15-rounder, went the distance. It was a good give and take for about 6 rounds because Tucker took some shots and he was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to just go survival mode. So I always try to compare things. Doesn't mean I'm right, wrong. It's just things I try to compare. All right. Now, Deontay Wilder, Joe Frazier.
I think Deontay stops him.
Because you think he is very similar to a George Foreman type where the power is there. Frazier's going to get caught with the power.
Frazier was not hard to hit, and I think Deontay Wilder hit as hard or harder. I think he hits harder than George Foreman did. So I think he stops Frazier in 4 rounds. Honestly,
I have similar thoughts on that. And again, it could go either way. We're just throwing this out there. That's all. Excellent. Wilder, young Foreman.
Wilder, young Foreman.
Ron Lyle. It's Foreman Lyle to the nth degree, in my opinion.
That would be a fight that they could do 3 times, and I'd pay top money to see it every single time.
Bombs away, baby.
I think George Foreman wins that because I think he had first of all, neither one of them none of their fights would go more than 4 or 5 rounds. But I think Foreman had a little more technical skill.
Yeah, I agree.
Able to catch him before because Wilder is so center line. Yep. He's in and out. His chin is on the center line, and Foreman would make him pay for that.
Because young George still, again, might be, I hate saying lumbering. Maybe he looked awkward at times, but he still could move this way and that way. He could shift on the inside.
He was a high-level amateur, too.
Absolutely. He won the gold medal. It's not like the guy couldn't, Oh, my God, did he wreck that? The fight? Oh, I watched that every once in a while. I think it was a Russian. He wrecked it. Jesus. MV likes a young George Foreman. King Kwan, George Foreman. Oh, MV says Fury, Lennox Lewis. That's a Wembley matchup if ever.
Oh, that would sell out the country.
Yeah, it would sell out the country.
It would be a national holiday. That would be a really good fight. And then Lennox Lewis doesn't get a lot of credit either. Yeah. I mean, I think if they fought 10 times, they each win 5.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. Lewis does not get a lot of credit, and he should get.
No, he doesn't.
All right. So Deontay Wilder, old George Foreman, older, second version. We're just gonna go with the same, like.
I think that's the same result, only it happens in like
a little later,
10th or 11th round.
Yeah, I think it's very like Michael Moore almost.
And just take punches and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Larry Holmes, Deontay Wilder.
Larry Holmes would make him look stupid.
I think it would be an utter nightmare for Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Larry Holmes would stop Wilder in the. And again, this is just our fun opinion.
You know what it would be like? It would be like the Cooney Holmes fight. Honestly.
Yes. Yeah, because Cooney had the big left hook. Wilder had the big right hand. again, if Wilder cracks you, you never know. But I think that's a good example.
That's his one wild card. He hits hard enough to drop anybody who's ever fought. I mean, and let's be honest, when you're over 200 pounds body weight,
yep.
if you have power, you can knock anybody else out. I mean, that's not 100% scientifically proven, but I would say it's pretty legit, you know. And so there's always that, but Holmes would just make him look silly boxing him.
All right, we'll do a few. I was going to stay away from the Ali thing because that's a. Now again, let's remember, people. We're going to say Ali before he's suspended, because to me that's Ali in his prime.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Ali fan, but he's a great fighter, and I'll tell you what's even more impressive. When I say I'm not a fan, he's a great boxer. I don't mean that. He beat guys after his prime who are legit Hall of Famers, and he beat them. Joe Frazier, and again, you can say their primes are twice. Fought Kenny Norton hard 3 times. I don't think he won. He definitely didn't win the last one. But again, it's my opinion. He beat fighters he beat George Foreman was in his prime. George Foreman was in his prime when Ali beats him in Zaire. So that's what makes Ali incredible.
Well, and Ali fought probably during the most talented heavyweight division in history. And I don't think it's even close. The 60s and 70s. Come on.
So we're gonna say my thing of prime, Ali pre the nonsense they put him through.
Mm-hmm.
Suspension. What do you Fury Ali?
I think Ali beats him.
Yeah, I think Ali is, and again, Fury would be tough, but I think Ali would be able to lay traps in his hands. Probably the quickest hands, fastest hands in boxing history, even compared to Sugar Ray Robinson. Because I remember they did, I don't know the scientific exact terminology, but they did the stop footage. Mm-hmm. His hands were actually quicker in his prime than Sugar Ray Robinson. So that says a lot.
And he has the same instincts, boxing instincts and IQ that Fury does, but he has a lot more athleticism.
And also, it's underrated about Ali.
Much better footwork.
Yeah. What's underrated about Ali? People didn't think he could punch. He could punch. He could hit you, and it's going to hurt. I think it'd be a hell of a fight. Could Fury win that? Yeah, but I would favor Ali in that. So, Ali, Deontay Wilder. Ali makes him look.
That's Sonny Liston too.
Yeah. So,
Ali would decision Fury, I think. Comfortably.
So, Phil Daniels is here.
Hey, what's up, Phil?
Big contributor in the Glory Days Sports Facebook group page.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Phil. How you doing? So he wants to go Tyson. All right, we'll do that. We'll do this one. I was trying to do that. Tyson Ali. That being said, remember, I've always said this. I've watched Henry Cooper nearly decapitate Ali. If Tyson let me go back a bit, because now I'm Customado, when he was young, you can find this. It's a very interesting little interview he had with Muhammad Ali. And Ali goes, how's your guy, if you're training him, going to hit me? How's he going to hit me? You know, they're doing the play thing, right? And Customado goes, because he's going to jab to your chest. And he's going to get in. And so I would favor Ali in that fight. But again, if Tyson can catch him, you never know. Well,
think about stylistically. It's going to be very similar to Ali Frazier. It's a bout that styles really make the difference. Yep. So would you say relentless pressure, Tyson, a young Tyson,
quick hands,
quicker, harder to hit than Frazier too.
Yeah. So
I don't think that's a gimme for Ali.
No, because I started to think about it. And what is always my thing when people go, and Ali's a great fighter. I say, yeah, but if a puncher catches him, and it's with any puncher, Henry Cooper, go back and look at that round in the first fight, round 5. He nearly decapitates him. So, and I like him.
I think, but I like him. That was a great fight for Ali, though, because Ali
learned.
He learned that he needs to take every fighter seriously because
Again, that was part of it too, but Cooper caught him.
Yeah, he did get caught.
So, JT, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, buddy?
All right. So we did Wilder. We Wilder, obviously, we don't think will fare as good as Fury. Again, just our opinions against Anthony Joshua. Tim Witherspoon. See, I didn't go with the. I went with the. No. I'm gonna get. I just no because that to me that's an intriguing fight because what do they both have? Well, again, we're gonna say primes, and they're in shape. Joshua's always in shape. It's not that he's not in shape, but Tim Witherspoon, even in his prime, sometimes didn't like to train.
Yeah.
So.
I think a focused Tim Witherspoon beats him.
Yep.
I think an unfocused Tim Witherspoon gets knocked out. You know,
yeah.
it's again we're kind of hedging our bets there, but that matters. Mental acuity and mental approach to the fight matters. So I think Tim Witherspoon was not elite, but he was up there. He was a top echelon fighter when he trained hard. And here's one guy we haven't mentioned that I think focused and in the right mindset could beat Fury, and that's Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe, lots of talent.
Riddick Bowe had an unbelievable talent level. He was big. He was fast for a big guy, but he just was so.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with you.
Inconsistent.
I'm going to say someone's name, Andrew Galata, because Andrew Galata kicked his ass twice. So I think yes. If I'll give you another thing. If Lennox Lewis fought Riddick Bowe in the professionals, I think he beats him again, just like he did in the amateurs. Riddick Bowe, almost in a way, almost. Because Riddick Bowe is known for his Holyfield fights, right? Those were his big fights, right? Holyfield's smallish heavyweight, who still gave those are great. Those were unbelievable
really
fights. Tremendous. One of the best trilogies. People don't talk. I mean, you don't.
And we got Fan Man too.
Yeah, Fan Man was in the. Was that the second one or the first?
I think it was the second.
Second one, but tremendous fights. Fun. I watched all three. The third one was a 10-rounder, and Bowe stopped him. But tremendous. So, though he's a smallish heavyweight, right? Bowe. When Galata, there's a mental case there because he had a lot of talent. He just brain dead. So I think Fury would definitely get in Bowe's head, and I think Fury would.
Oh no!
Would out Galata. What Galata did to Riddick Bowe. But yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great point, though. You're right. He would play serious mental games with him leading up to the fight.
Again, no knock against Ali, and I believe me, he got up. I get that. My point is if it's 30 seconds earlier, my opinion, Cooper knocks him out because Ali didn't know where he was. But it's all about what it is. I'm just saying a big puncher can give anybody trouble. And a focused Mike Tyson, and again, we can debate. Sometimes I think, is he a top 5 guy? And another time I say, well, who did he beat? So again, I go back and forth. So, but this is
let's be honest. We spent the first 40 minutes talking about the Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight, but what kept us so involved and intrigued with that fight is that power that Paul has in his right hand. That's right.
And again, if you're just joining us, I was highly entertained by that fight.
Yeah, and Fury thoroughly outboxed him, but that power was always there.
I'll give you the thing with Ray Mercer. I'll give you the thing. Mercer was tough. He sometimes had a bad habit of not throwing enough punches because him and Lennox Lewis had a war. That was a hell of a fight. Was it Mercer and Burt Cooper? I think had a hell of a fight too.
He almost murdered Tommy Morrison too.
Oh, that was
terrifying.
Hey, you think you should stop the fight? They got the hello Bella. I know I have to move the cars. I know. The that's an interesting one.
That's what I keep it to remind you of.
Okay. I will move the cars in shortly. All right. So Anthony Joshua, if he's right, and Witherspoon's a little off, we'll agree with that.
Oh, are you talking about what they said? Who's going to fight who?
Well, Anthony thinks Deontay Wilder is going to fight Andy Ruiz. See, I was hoping it was Anthony Joshua because I'm like, yeah, baby. To me, that's an intriguing fight.
It
What
is.
about the Canelo aspect?
Oh, yeah. Did you? Oh, he didn't get to see that fight. He didn't see that one. Oh, I mean, just tell me. Thank you for my. No. That's good. So, if the cruiserweight champ, just going to go back for a second. The cruiserweight champion, he lost to
Squirrel.
Yes, Squirrel. To Bandu Jack, right? The cruiserweight champion was saying that, well, Canelo, you keep saying you're this big guy. Come fight me if I win. Would you actually think Canelo would step up to cruiserweight if there's a weight catch limit?
No.
Because I agree with you. Unless the money was tremendous. Because he had trouble. The Russian
Bivol.
He destroyed. I mean,
Canelo looks sluggish in that fight.
Yeah.
And I think his sweet spot is probably super middleweight, and that's where he should stay.
Yeah. Anyway, but
he's not going to beat.
I don't think
Bivol dismantles him and beat BF would murder Canelo, unfortunately.
Phil Daniels brings up Rocky Marciano. Size differential is really tough. I mean, I love Marciano. I love Joe Louis. I love those guys. Louis was he 6'1"? 6 feet, 6'1". Good, obviously great fighter. Jab, right hand. Okay, I'll give you. Okay, Marciano against Tyson Fury. The weight's too much, and I love Rocky Marciano. It's too much.
Look, that's the thing. Rocky fought usually at about 190 pounds.
183, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so let's play devil's advocate.
And he had a very short reach for
68 inch reach. I'm not going to be silly in my mind, right? Marciano would have been the greatest at this time, one of the greatest cruiserweight champions ever, because he's just tenacious and he's going to hit you and hit you. And same thing he did to heavyweights. So Marciano,
and that's if he did fight today, that's what division he would be in, because he'd never be able.
Now, would he step up? Would he step up to heavyweight for a big money fight at some point? Yeah, I would think so. That's Joe Louis.
And you forget. Well, I don't know. You forget, but just an example there is even in fights that he won, good boxers, Walcott, Archie Moore, they outboxed him. And Fury is a big man who will lean on him and can box and can move and has a huge reach advantage. So, it would be hard for Marciano to get that shot like he did against Walcott that distorted his face and knocked him out.
Yeah.
And I love Rocky too, but that's just
a tough
really
task. I'm not saying you never know. The guy comes in at 200 pounds and he's fiercely tough and he could hit extremely hard. They had that test where he punched into the thing. It was like, it was this ridiculous force that other guys did not have. So,
and that Jamie makes a great point. He fought when he came along. He fought a old and blown up Archie Moore who still gave him trouble. And Ezra Charles, who was a light heavyweight champion or light heavyweight that came up. And, Walcott wasn't big. Lewis was old. And again, not disrespecting Rocky. I mean, heart, power, chin. But, he fought at a time. He wouldn't, if he had fought in the 70s, he would not have fared as well as he did. He wouldn't have.
The size does matter at the heavyweight because it does. I think he would, up to a certain point, early 70s, again, all-time great. Love him and Joe Louis. Even Louis, let's look at Louis and Tyson Fury. Louis got knocked out by Max Schmeling because the counter right was basically, Schmeling goes, I see something. And it was the counter right. Again, the beauty of YouTube, you can watch this stuff. And if you read and then you go see, it's the counter right. He just kept walking him into the right hand. Bing, right hand, bing. And eventually the dam cracked. Now, Louis adapted the rematch and destroyed him in one round. But it's tough.
And that's, that's the one. with every division in the history of boxing, it's always been pretty much the same. So you can have these competitive matchups across era, and that comes up a lot with the game too. And you kind of have to suspend reality with the
I'm glad
boxing
you brought
game,
that up
you know.
with the game. Here's the thing with the game. It's a game. So you're saying they're at equal talent level in the game, that they're going to be competitive. If someone says Rocky Marciano or Joe Louis is not an all-time great, you're silly. They're all-time greats. They're tremendous. So it's a what-if factor, and that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
You know, and again, just to mention the game flows beautifully, can be purchased at sidelinestrategies.com along with Glory Days College Football.
Al, my hype man.
I love the game. It's fun.
But there's been examples like Primo Carnera was a huge fighter, but he was very cumbersome. But smaller heavyweights didn't have a whole bunch of trouble with him.
Max you know what's interesting about Primo Carnera? That I did a little studying about him, and I'm not an expert, but I'm saying he was had a little more agility than I thought, because I watched it, and because the guy did an excellent video, and I watched him train. I watched him do all this. The problem with him was, in a weird way, he's like Anthony Joshua. He had no instinct to fight. He was strong. No. He could take punishment. He hit okay. He hit good. I can't say he didn't hit good. And there were fights that were fixed, unbeknownst to him. But yeah, size doesn't always matter. It doesn't. But we're talking about Tyson Fury, where he's a talented fighter. So in there, size does matter in a way. Like the Klitschko's, again, great fighters. I'm going to be honest with you. I know Fury beat, I can't remember which, was it Vladimir? The slightly younger brother, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, he beat him. And the best line Fury had was when Klitschko goes, "I'll get you in the rematch." And Fury looked at him in the presser and goes, after the fight, goes, "I'm going to knock you out." He goes, "You just lost to an out of shape fat man." He pulled, lets his belly. He goes, you just pissed me off. I'm getting in shape. I'm going to knock you out. And they never had the rematch. And I think
that was Vladimir. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, again, Fury had some going through issues, and I'm glad he's conquered them. And I hope he continues to conquer them. Fury in shape beats both Klitschko's. I mean, he already beat one, but I'm saying he just different beast.
Well, the Klitschko's really were very stereotypical Eastern Bloc style fighters too. They were very straight up and down, great jabs, great reach, great length, great power, but not very elusive for sure.
Where is it? I knew this was coming up. Still any chance for a PC version?
No.
Excellent question.
No news to report. I put in, because I've talked about it a couple of times. I've had a guy that I really liked working on it. Had 2 starts that just real life and his job got in the way, and I get that. I hope he still maybe comes back soon in the future. But I also there's a PT Plum Games. They're getting more into some computer simulations. I asked them to consider programming Glory Days Boxing too, and they said that they would add it to their project list. But this has been some months ago, and I know it's not a priority. So really, I would like that to happen. I want it to be I want it to be a faithful translation. That's important. And I also, I want it to be by somebody that I trust and have a relationship with too.
Because it's a wonderful game. And I think it will eventually, when you're able to do it, translate beautifully to PC.
I'll have at some point in the future several games out, but Glory Days Boxing is always a first, so that'll kind of always be my baby. So I want that transition or translation when it does come to be immaculate, I guess, for lack of better words. Yeah.
Big Russian. Yeah. 7 foot.
Guy, he was huge.
You know what's funny? Again, not a natural fighter. He wasn't bad either. I'm not saying he was great, but he didn't have he was a very kind. I remember watching a like the footage, and he just very kind, very nice. It just wasn't in his mentality. He's not a bad fighter. Ruiz, was it John Ruiz who beat him?
Yeah, and he was, and he was a very, very cumbersome fighter, and
and he just
and not a ton of power for a big guy.
No, either. You'd think that with that size.
But to answer, MV has a question in the chat. I've got portions of that done. That's one of the things that I work on intermittently between other stuff I'm doing. It's kind of like it's weird. The tables and stuff I use would make no sense because I just have so much data, and it works for me because that's how my mind works. But
yeah,
it's translating that into a sensible format and finding a way to get the intangible pieces and the subjective part of boxing down in a way that's easier to, I guess, interpret and apply for somebody rating their own fighters. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, but it hasn't been released, but it's been worked on still.
What I like about Glory Days Boxing, and I play a couple other boxing games on the channel. Is it okay to mention them, Anthony?
Sure.
Okay. I know, because we're talking. So I play Title Bout PC. I enjoy it, the PC, because I'm not a big card flipper. No knock again. I don't like card flipping. It's just, but on the PC, I enjoy it because it does the card flipping for me. Legends of Boxing, another really fun game. Charts. So there's a lot of charts if you roll it. But you can roll it on the PC. So if you want to, you can still roll in brilliant games, both of them. And they're fun to match up things.
No, and the thing there too, I mean, respect for both guys, Gary Brown
Jim Trunzo and Gary Brown, wonderful.
Trunzo, Trunzo's been friends with me on Facebook for years, and a lot of respect. I mean, without Jim Trunzo, there wouldn't be a Glory Days Boxing because I got interested in board games because of Title Bout.
And a fabulous game, Title Bout.
Yeah, for
sure. I still have it. It's the blue box near the Italian flag to that way.
So I don't look at other boxing games as competition. I look at us all as like a community,
That's what I look at. One of my least favorite questions is, what's your favorite game? The game I'm playing at the moment in time, because that's what I want to play. Everything's a different itch. I like all my games, and they're all wonderful. Play the games you like. Don't, it's tough for me to say my Glory Days Boxing is the closest thing to my favorite game because it just flows. And it's fun because I can pick up any two cards. Now I figured out a way, if I can't quickly put it on the table, because I can set it up quickly using an Excel and the PDFs, and I can roll my dice or use Dice Roller. I've shown it off in the channel. So again, extremely reasonably priced, whether print or PDF. So, and if you don't want to print the PDFs and you have Excel and Snippet, you just put it on the Excel spreadsheet, use Ball Roller, or roll your own bones. It's okay. It's beautiful.
I mean, you have close to a computer setup for that almost.
Yeah, I wish I knew how to do macros better so things go automatic, but I don't. I tried. Didn't work out. So, but it's a nice, you know what it is, Anthony? When I do that, it just gives me a little more immersion. I get to throw some photos up there. Even when I roll, when I did it with the Excel, I like the Excel that it tracks, it does the math. It just gives me a little more immersion. And it's just such a fun, logical game to me. It's just fun. We're going to finish up soon because I got to move the cars. Usyk. We're going through Usyk against Joe Frazier. I think that's an interesting fight.
I do too. Usyk he doesn't get I don't think enough credit. One, he doesn't fight a lot, but he's very, very savvy as a boxer, very good with his distance and space, and very intuitive, and he hits pretty hard too. I don't
harder
know.
Than I thought.
Yeah, he does. I don't know that he would, but again, you talked about the Anthony Joshua fight.
The second fight,
when Joshua pressed him, it gave him trouble, and I think
I
I
think
don't
Frazier
think he'd
takes
be
him
able
out.
to deal with Frazier's pressure at all. So
Foreman, Usyk, young Foreman.
I think Usyk beats young Foreman. I think old Foreman beats Usyk.
Excellent. Larry Holmes beats Usyk.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Mike Tyson, Usyk.
Tyson.
I agree. Awesome sauce. Quick couple more things, and then I really do have to move the cars, or Nurse Teresa will murder me in my seat. MV says, "What's your view on Mike McCollum as the greatest junior middleweight?" He's one of the top.
And there's so many. Junior middleweight is.
I'll throw a couple of names. People won't even. Nino Benvenuti was. Yeah. In reality, he lost one fight. They hosed him in South Korea. Yeah. So Nino Benvenuti, Mike McCollum, Mike McCollum was outstanding. Wow. I'm trying to think who. There was a lot of great fighters to hold junior middleweight titles. They didn't stay there too long.
Yeah, that's it's kind of weird. It's kind of a stepping stone division.
Yeah.
I think probably McCallum deserves recognition as.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Too,
and then I put like Nino Benvenuti, like, you know, underneath or equal, whatever, because a lot of, like, Sugar Ray Leonard didn't stay there. Tommy Hearns didn't stay there. Benitez won, and did he lose it, or he just? I'm trying to think now. Did he?
Well, and there's, you know, I mean, you look at guys who've come through that division though. Duran, Leonard,
yeah.
Hearns did. I mean, Hearns fought there too. Julian Jackson was a tremendous puncher.
Julian Jackson, oh my God.
Yeah.
Was it McCullum who starched him though? Did they have that? Or who starched him? Someone starched him in 2 rounds on ABC. I don't know if it was McCullum. Probably wasn't. I just remembered his first title shot. Not bueno for Julian Jackson. I could be wrong there. I kind of
Tony's up there too. James Toney. I mean,
did he have the junior middleweight?
Huh?
Did James Toney have the junior middleweight? I know he was middleweight. Did Roy Jones have junior middleweight? I think he did. He no.
Roy Jones. No, Jones was super middleweight.
He beat Jorge Castro. I think held the junior middleweight, stepped up, won the middleweight, and then he lost. But trying to remember, so many fun fights. Wow, I'd have to say Mike McCollum. I'm trying to think.
And Gerald McClellan, he's the one that starched Jax. He took him out and won. And another
thank you. I remember he got starched.
Yeah. And McClellan hit as hard as anyone pound for pound.
Yeah.
And it kind of a sad story too with what happened with him after the Ben fight.
Yeah. All right. Quickly. I enjoy the Legends boxing PC game. There's a lot of cool stuff with it. They have a fun ranking system, a fun tournament system.
I agree with that. I've got Legends of Boxing PC too, and I don't play it online a lot, but I play it offline quite a bit, and it's always fun.
I like the thing I like about, and if Anthony can, again, certain things I would say to Anthony. One, have the ability if you want to roll your own dice, because that's fun. I do like that you can set up a fight card. I do like that you can set up a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can do that in any, like, okay, Title Bout 2 PC, another fun game I like. You can't really set up a fight card. You can save fights and then say, you know, go to the next fight, but it's not a fight card. And you really can't set up a tournament. Can you set up a tournament? Yeah, I have tournaments going in Title Bout 2 on the PC. I just use a spreadsheet. It's a good game. And there's demo. Check out the demo, because if you don't like the demo, you're not going to like the game. So,
and you know,
I've never played the dice version. Me personally, too many charts. That's just me. I don't like going from chart to chart.
And I haven't either, but again, I think it's a great PC game for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's there are many people who like Legends of Boxing on the tabletop, and it's a good game, just like Title Bout 2, a good game on the tabletop. I prefer Glory Days Boxing. It's what I envisioned. Anthony knows this story. I tried to figure out, again, without knowing there's 20-sided dice as a kid, because my strat game had the 20 cards or whatever. You know what I mean? You flip the cards for your 20-sided dice. I tried to figure out how to play Title Bout with 2 6-sided die once, because I played I love that game, Title Bout, the one behind me. So, but again, play the games you like and enjoy. Anthony, final thoughts, because I have to move the cars.
Well, no, good. And I actually, amazingly, I look forward to a Jake Paul Tommy Furry rematch.
And who would have thought that?
Huh?
I look forward to it too. I like your idea. I'd like to see Jake Paul fight maybe 1 or 2 fights before that.
He needs to get out of. He needs to fight some good journeymen that he can hone his skills on and get better. I mean, you can do whatever you want to in the gym and train and blah blah blah, but you learn and you progress through fights. You do. And so he needs to get through fights where he's not trying to main event a card someplace and be like the highlight. He needs to humble himself, take some undercard fights where other people are in the main events, and get his skills better, and see what happens.
Excellent. What's coming up on your channel and in general with the Glory Days game universe?
Doing a bunch of, I'm just all over the place right now. One thing I am doing, I'm having weekly fight cards with Glory Days Boxing, either Thursday or Friday. And I use the enhanced quick play charts. Those are free downloads.
Right. Because you did a whole, there's a new, you can download that for free.
You can play a whole fight in less than 2 minutes. And so far the results to me and the play testers and people who've used them have been pretty solid. So much happier with that than I am the ones that I initially released. And what's up, Dave? And
the other thing, you had that really cool fight card. I don't remember what day it was, but you had like your undercard fights. I had missed those. I just caught the main event, which was a lot of fun. But
that was Bruno and Wilder.
Yeah.
So that, and then and I'll also be getting more season ticket baseball, which I really am starting to like.
Is that season ticket from Clay
Dreslock? Yeah.
How do you like that? A lot of people.
It flows really good. I did a review of it, and I had like one nitpick, and that was just the defensive ratings are on the players' cards, and so you either have to put them on a chart or sort through the bat, and that's just a minor thing. Right. But apart from that, the interaction is really good in my opinion, and gives you some good results. It's a fun game to play for sure. And Dave Gardner will.
Yeah, he enjoyed. I know you guys. I've been looking at that. I got to think about that.
So give that a look, man. And Clay will eventually have like literally from 1901 every season, which is a big selling point for me. And then for us, I'm halfway done. What's up, legends? Halfway done with the fictional set for Glory Days Boxing. So look for that probably mid-March, and then a 2022 college season. And then we will have an announcement on the next game release, which will either be pro football or wrestling.
Oh, pro football is cool. I like pro football too.
One of those two.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Remember, check out Bleacher Bums Gaming. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notification. Lots of fun stuff. If you're interested about Glory Days Boxing, Glory Days College Football, tutorials outstanding on his channel. Both those games can be purchased at sidelinestrategies.com, as well as Payoff Pitch from our good friend Joe Bryant. And I hope Joe's feeling better.
Yes.
The last time we talked, he was feeling better.
Keep good thoughts for Joe in your head.
That's right. Keep good thoughts for Joe also, as he.
Again, good guy, really good guy,
wonderful guy. We had him on. We should get us 3 on again. That was fun.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get Jim Trunzo with us.
Oh, that would be fun.
I would love to talk to him.
I jumped on the back. We interact a little bit back and forth on social media, so I jumped on it. I'd love to have a chat.
I just would love to. I'd like to have Gary on too and just talk boxing and stuff. Just talk about stuff. I love talking boxing. Anyway. I got to move the cars before Nurse Streets comes in, and I'll need an ambulance. You don't want that, do you?
You're going to be in trouble.
So thank you very much. Health and happiness. God bless. Stay safe. Treat people the way I'm going to be treated. We'll all see you very, very soon. You know what's coming, folks. Peace.